Hello, my name is Chris Porfido, and today I'm going to give you an example of some of my development work, and I am also going to give a tutorial on how to use the exciting new authoring tool known as ZebraZapps. So the project we're going to be working on today is a project I made for my advanced authoring class, and it's basically how to use Solver in Excel. As a ITM undergrad, Excel is one of my strong suits, so I like to do a lot of projects on Microsoft Office and similar programs. So to get started, here's a simple home start screen. Now basically what I did here was I created a start button, and ZebraZapps works using wires. So I connected a wire to button pressed and connected it to this button, which basically goes to the next slide or the next screen. So that's the first slide. The next slide I have here is some descriptive knowledge on what is Solver. So it's basically just an overview of some of the conceptual ideas of Solver, how it works, and what it does. So for this slide I added a timer. It's a little more complex than the last slide because I don't want learners to be able to just skip through this part. I want to give them enough time to read. So for the purpose of example, I have it set to 5 seconds, but this number can be changed. Probably around 10 seconds is more realistic for how much time it would take to read this. And what happens is this timer has 10 seconds per cycle, and once 10 seconds have elapsed, then it will show the next button. And once you click the next button, similar to the previous page, it will go to the next page. So on this next slide I have a slider. Now this is a little more complicated, but basically what it's saying is the slider can go up and down to each of these steps. Once the slider is on value 1, it shows the first step. Once it's on value 2, it hides the first step and it shows the second step. So an example of this would be, here you go, just some screenshots I took in Excel, added some annotations in Snagit, so you can kind of get an idea for what I was thinking with the screenshots. So back to the development side. Same idea with the next, and now I added a go back button in case users want to go backwards. It's the same idea as the next button, but it's just opposite. Next I included a video. It's a video that I created in Captivate actually,
so the first thing
where I talk about how to open Solver in Excel, similar to what was shown on the previous slide.
Once you click that,
I'm not going to bore you guys with this video. This is another cool interactive functionality that ZebraZapps has. What I did was I created 3 rectangles, and this is basically ZebraZapps' hover function. So when the pointer is over the yellow section, it will show the yellow section of text. When the pointer is over the green section, it'll show the green section of text. But this pointer out function says that whenever the pointer is outside of the box, that it will hide this green. So just to show you an example of what this does. So as long as the pointer is anywhere that's not the green, it will hide the green. As long as it's anywhere that's not yellow, it will hide the yellow. So here's another video. Same idea, just play, resume, pause, restart. I could make this look a lot nicer, but for demonstration purposes, just left it as is. Now here is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the project. So basically what I'm trying to teach people to do is use Solver to make decisions based on variables that are given. So here I give the user a bunch of variables: unit profit, the cost, the size, and the number of units, and there's restrictions on it. So the number of units cannot exceed this number. So I can't have more than 20 product ones because of this restriction. And I can't have more than $10,000 used because there's only 10,000 available. So on and so forth for the rest of these. So if you continue, here's another video. This video shows pretty much how to solve the problem in the assessment phase.
Once you have the worksheet
you'll
open,
see
we're going to want to open up the solver window.
it goes all the way through. Now this is the first tricky slide that I came up with. So for this I used ZebraZapps drag and drop functionality. So to do that, I'll show you some of my wires. There's a lot for this one. Let's show related wires. So what I did was I printed out the screen, and then I actually cropped each one of these cells. So each one of these is its own image. And I made each one of these draggable. So the objective of this slide is to take the total profit cell, which is B8, and put it in the objective box. So to do that, here is B8. So you add a drop-down command, and when it is dropped on the rectangle, what happens is it makes the next button visible, and it tells the user great job. It makes this visible. These two are normally invisible, but once the cell is dropped on the appropriate location, then those become visible. There's also a timer. It also stops the timer once the correct answer is included. As for the rest of these cells, I gave it a simple drag release put back command. So wherever the user drags these cells, it will just put it back to where it was. So I'll show you an example of what this slide looks like in action. So this would be the wrong cell. No matter where I drop it, you can see it snaps back into place. Total profit is the right cell. And if you don't drop it in the right spot, it'll bounce back. You get a hint. Hint will show you to drag the desired object cell into the set objective box, and you can also give up and it'll just give you the answer. But for this exercise, we're just going to put that in there, and great job. So for this next step, we have to change the variable cells. So this one's a little more complicated because we have to use multiple cells. So the correct cells that would go into it would be B7, C7, and D7. So you have to drag all three of those in for it to be able to progress throughout the assessment. So the way I set that up was basically when B7 is dropped in there, it fires off this command. So B7 is there. First one becomes true. And once C7 goes there, the second one becomes true. And once D7 goes in there, the third one becomes true. And when all three are true, then the action comes up where it says good job, it stops the timer, and you're able to progress throughout the training. Another thing that I programmed with the timer that I thought was a good idea is if the timer actually runs out, it says try to go back and rewatch the video, or try to give the user some sort of advice for maybe being able to do better next time. So here we go. I'll show you this one. Let me start it over. It's not set up right. Okay. And all these other cells also have drag putbacks associated with them as well. So change the variable cells. Great job. Timer stops and the next button pops up. So we'll go to next, and this is the final and most complicated slide in the entire project. I have to show all the wires for this one, and it is pretty crazy. So a little bit overwhelming, but everything makes sense and it all has its own job to do. So for this one, there are actually multiple different answers. B7 is less than or equal to B6, C7, C6, D7, so on and so forth. So since B4 isn't even one of the answers, it's a simple drag putback command. Let's go to B7. So for B7, once B7 is dropped on the cell reference, which is this spot, it will check a box over here. So once B7 and C7 are both in the appropriate spots, both boxes will be checked. And when both boxes are checked, it checks this box, and once that's checked, good job pops up, the next button pops up, it stops the timer, and the training goes on. So I use these truth tables so that once B6 and B7 are both checked, it will check the correct. Same idea for any of these other ones. Once C6 and C7 are checked, correct will spawn, D6 and D7, so on and so forth. So, practice this. Hint. There are 5 correct answers. So we want to add a constraint. So B7 is less than or equal to B6. There we go. Great job. Now this is just a demo of what can be done with ZebraZapps. There's infinite possibilities. I actually almost hit where ZebraZapps couldn't go any further. If I add a couple more images, it would just crash. So I think the safe zone is probably about 35 or under images. Once you get above that, then ZebraZapps sort of struggles, but this is basically just me showing that I can go to pretty much the end of ZebraZapps, and yeah. Well, I hope you liked my training. Sorry I kind of slipped up a little bit at the end, but I look forward to your comments in the comments section, and I hope you all have a very nice day. Thank you.